most of you have seen the videos and stuff and being out there in the media and what's not. You know the issues that we have in this business. We know 96% of consumers are black, only 3% of us own beauty supply stores. It's a strategic lockout, and like I always say, it's an economic hate crime. When I started on the quest to open a store, I thought it was an isolated incident for me to open my own store and build a wealth of myself and take care of my family and help the community have an alternative shopping experience. But when I got in, of course, I realized that it was a much bigger problem. In realizing that and just going full steam ahead, there was no real plan in place to get the word out and help other people. But there were a few individuals came along to help with that process, to help get the word out, to help make things happen. I was in the Korean Cash, the Korean Takeover Black Hair DVD. That happened, and that created a series of interviews and blogs and newspapers and what's not. But every time that I'm out here in the trenches helping other people, I always keep in mind that one force or that one platform that really contributed big time to going where we need to go. And that person, of course, in this room, Michael Baisden. He made sure, I have to say that sometimes when you see people on TV or hear them on the radio, you tend to wonder, are they really serious, or are they in it for themselves? You tend to try to understand or interpret that individual. But when I say Michael Baisden he champions for the black community, he champions for the people with heart, the people trying to get their books out there, people trying to be in entrepreneurship. He's a big voice with a big stick focusing on the little person. Because of him and me getting on these media platforms, it was almost like a validation. It's almost like, oh, well, if he can be on a syndicated program with 12 million listeners and carry a conversation with the depth of content, we can bring him on our show too. So then the other copycats started calling and bringing me on. But I always keep in mind the individual that started it all for us. And every time we're on that show, every time he ran the program, we had such an increase of calls, of people coming in, wanting to do this business. So I knew that he was not only a voice, he was also a Pied Piper that people followed, that people believed in. And I will say that his show is missed. Because I'm going to tell you, in the climate that we're in right now, I can bet my last dollar that Michael Baisden would have been at the front of the lines for this Michael Brown situation. So I really wanted to just give you a little background of my personal feel and how I feel about this man and this activist and advocate for our community before I bring him to the stage. But without further ado, I don't want to go on rambling because I can go on and on about the people that are out there talking and not doing, preaching and not reaching, teaching and just talking. And Michael Baisden definitely is one of them. So welcome to the stage, Mr. Michael Baisden.
Thank you, partner.
Yeah, man. All day.
How's everybody doing? And you all have a great opportunity, especially being a new organization, to kind of redefine black business, because we're not doing a very good job of networking. I mean, that's the key. You all do understand that's the key. When you all leave here, when your relationships end, you're actually taking away some of your power. Devin told me about how the business works, and maybe I'll get into that with you guys a little later. But let me give you a little history about why I appreciate him bringing me here, not just to speak to you all about social issues and relationships, which we're going to talk about that too, because trust me, everything is relationships. Is that I am a businessman first. I always have been. I was the guy, there's people who go to school to learn business, and there's hustlers like me, born hustlers. South side of Chicago, the whole nine, I've done it all and sold it all, and that's as far as I'm going to go. Basement parties, Kool-Aid stands, events. I didn't just host the Michael Baisden Show, I owned the Michael Baisden Show. I didn't just write books, I published those books. I didn't just have these television shows, I own those television shows. Ownership is very important in order to have creative control, and that is key in terms of ownership and being able to really generate the type of money that you want to make in order to reinvest. We spent $500,000 when we traveled around the country on a bus to 70 cities to finance different mentoring organizations. Having money is very, very, very important if you want to help people. not just for the sake of being rich, and we're going to get to that. I'm going to walk through some of these points, and then we can really get loose in a minute, because I wrote down some stuff I really think we need to talk about. As I said, I've been in business my whole life, not just some of my life. Since I was 9 years old, I've been a businessman. The stage plays, the movies, all the things that we're trying to do right now, we're doing as owners, the same way you guys wanted to own your stores and not just continue to be employees. And at some point, we all get to that point of not just wanting to be slaves. I call it that Shawshank Redemption mentality. You get tired of being a slave to your job, and sometimes you have to get fired. Some of you all probably got fired and decided to run your own business. You have to be forced and pushed into doing the right thing. With me, it was an incident where I was driving the trains. I was a trainman for the Chicago Transit. It was cold as hell. I got on the train. I was working out on the tracks for the maintenance people. And man, it had to be about 0. Any of y'all from Chicago? Southside? So you know how cold it get out there in Chicago. And I got on the train, my glasses fogged up, and it was this white family that had on these straw hats. They had their luggage. They were getting ready to go out of town. And I'm thinking to myself, while I'm sitting there freezing my behind off and my glasses all frozen up, I want to be on this train on my way out of town in December and January. I want to take my family on a vacation, not be stuck on this job. And really, that was one of those moments for me. We always, all of us have those moments, that light switch, and we're like, I'm done. I got to make a change. And that was that moment for me. And from that point on, I was already a very avid reader. I decided I wanted to use books as a means to get on television, and then from there, all the other things in my life happened. But here's the thing that you all already know as entrepreneurs. Some of you all maybe been in business a few years. Some of you all may have been in business for 20 or more years. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody. And although a lot of people can get in the game, it's not easy to stay in the game. People come and go in business all the time. Businesses close down every day. I always tell people, you think you want to run your own business. It may sound sexy. And the minute you tell somebody you have your own business, they automatically think you're rich. You pass them a business card, the family think you're rich, the people you date think you're rich. Hey man, there's nobody more broke than an entrepreneur. We squeeze a dime. The only way you can become successful is know how to squeeze every inch out of a dollar. And you don't just do it the first year, the first 2 years, the first 3 years. It's a long time before you're able to pay yourself if you're smart. Now, if you're a show-off, you get out there and spend all your money. The minute you make some money, you got a Lexus parked in front of your business. That's not very smart. First of all, people are going to, you know how we are about our own success. We see each other becoming successful. We actually have a little, I call it disdain almost. So they know that they're paying your business. Now you got a Lexus parked outside your car. Drive the hoopty to work. I mean, seriously, if you want to understand the mentality and the psychology of how our people are, you don't drive your Benz and put it outside your store. For what? This is not smart. In fact, the only way I'm going to have a Benz is if I got a whole bunch of money already saved, a house paid for, furniture that's already paid for, and the kids' college paid for. When I moved to this town, when I had my first book, I sold my car. My mother loaned me $1,000, and 2 of my boys loaned me $1,000. I had $3,000. That's how I started this business, $3,000 in selling my vehicle. I was living right off of 85 in Claremont. And I moved there because I could walk to the grocery store, I could walk to the post office, and I didn't have a car for 5 years. 5 years I didn't have a car. People think they know your story, because your story's got to be the same as mine. Many of y'all, you got to hustle your way to this, man. This is not stepping into success. It's a lot of hard work. So 5 years being a brother without a car, you know, the women weren't too enthusiastic. But yes, they were to a degree. I got to be honest with you about one thing. The women that I chose to date had no problem with it because they saw the vision too. And you should never date someone who doesn't share your vision. We're going to get into the relationship part of that later, which is my favorite part of it. As the entrepreneur, you got to take all the blame. All the responsibilities lies on you. I had to be the accountant. I had to be the manager. I had to be the marketing executive. I had to be the creative person. You have to come up with all the ideas because you can't afford to pay people. And I'll tell you, the most valuable thing that you have as you grow into entrepreneurship is resources. If somebody were to hook me up with the right accountant. Like some of y'all may have a great accountant. If I could have found somebody with a great accountant early, I could have saved thousands of dollars. If I would have found someone who could have hooked me up with the right lawyer, I could have saved millions of dollars. If you all don't have anything else in this room, you better have a good accountant and you better have a good lawyer. Because I'm going to tell you, that one word in a contract could cost you everything. It's that serious. Don't have your cousins reading over your contracts. Somebody that's in law school, because literally, I'm telling you, one word could change the meaning of something that could cost you your business. Copyrights, contracts with distributors, all that stuff makes a difference. And the difference with being in business today compared to when I started business back in 1993, man, everything changes so fast. I mean, like that. So you have to be able to adapt. And even in you all's business, it doesn't matter what the business is, everything changes. The competition can open up across the street. And everything shifts. Now, I know you all have distributors, most of them overseas. We know the Koreans are doing business together. And the one thing I did talk to Devin about is that you all have to, I hope that you all are buying together. Because if you all are buying individually as store owners, you all are losing a lot of buying power and losing thousands of dollars that you could be getting a lower cost if you all were buying collectively. That's just common business. I know you all are in a franchise organization, which I wish you were, that you at least had a common name. So if I got on the radio, which yes, I'm going back at some point, I can say McDonald's in Nashville, McDonald's in Chicago, go to McDonald's in New York. Now I got to say Pookie's Hair Salon, Jerry's Hair Salon. And what happens is we become so personal with what we want to name. Hey, it's not about you. Who cares? If I can tell you can make an extra $500,000, do you care about changing the name of your business? This is about money, man. It's about money and buying influence. That's something you all need to think about, and I'm going to let that marinate. How can we use our collective money to buy and get a lower price, and how can we maybe think about changing our name to something that's common and you still own it? It's not about you. That's how we become so unsuccessful in business. We're too sensitive. We don't take constructive criticism. And here's another big problem with us. We don't want to let somebody else outshine us. The reason why our young black men are not doing well, because we got these old Negroes trying to hold on to power. Political power, business power. Man, I love bringing young men and women up. I love sharing my resources. If you become more powerful than me, then guess what? You become a resource for me. Instead, this is the thing. We got this celebrity mentality. Let me tell you something. If I could get behind the mic and produce a show, dude, look at what Ryan Seacrest is doing. How many shows Ryan got going, Pamela? 10? And we got one Negro on the microphone. Maybe he owns a show, maybe he doesn't. And that's it. That's the only dollars he's got coming in. Whereas if I was producing 5 or 6 shows, I got 20, 30, 40, $50 million coming in. Same thing with you guys, and trust me, I know it's hard to find help. You would never know it was a recession by some of these people. You try to hire them, you're like, damn, don't you need a job? The hardest thing in the world you ever gonna do, I don't care what industry it is build a team. It is so hard to find those reliable people. It's mission impossible. Out of all the years I was in radio, which was about 10 or 12 years, there were maybe 4 or 5 people that I would bring back to work with me. And not because they weren't nice people, not because they weren't people that were not good workers, but they didn't have that drive. People you could trust to give something to and not think about it. How many employees do you have you can just give them something to do and not even think about it? That's when you know you have the right employee. But are you the right boss? Boy, some of us, boy, we get a title, dude, it's over. President. They've got to put president on the card, you know. Chairman. Hey, man, I'm going to tell you this. If you can't get the most out of your employee, you're a failure. You're either choosing the wrong people because of your insecurity or because you're not branching out far enough to reach out to people of a certain age or people of a certain race. They don't have a problem hiring us if they can make money off of our talent. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm certainly going to reach out to my community first to see if I can find somebody black to give a job to, but you better believe if Susie or Maria come along and I can trust them, come on in. Everything is a resource, man. Don't get this stuff twisted. This is business. I've been successful in everything I've done. I've been at the top of the book writing business. I've been at the top of the radio business. We were very successful with our TV shows. We had bigger events than anybody. Our plays grossed as much money as Tyler Perry's did when we had Me and Cry in the Dark and Maintenance Man out there. But that's not me. That's my team. You show me a person's right-hand man and right-hand woman, I'll tell you how successful they're going to be. That's my right-hand woman. How many years now? 12? Long-term relationships are just like long-term intimate relationships, man. Some people are good at them and some people are not. If you're not good at building relationships, you are not going to last. You got to have good relationships with people. I don't care if the woman is attractive, if the guy is attractive. We get caught up in all this other stuff that has nothing to do with making money. Are you a good boss? What makes you a good boss? Because the first thing I'm going to care about is how my employee is doing. I want to let them know I care about what's going on in their life. The first thing I tell my employees when they come into the Michael Baisden show is, what do you want to do? What's your ultimate goal? Because maybe this show is not it. How can I help you with you being on this show to help you get to where you want to go? Who can I hook you up with? Because even if you're passing through for a short amount of time, I'm going to get the most out of you if you know that I'm invested in you. And to this day, the main people who were very instrumental in that show being successful, we still have a relationship. If this show restarts, I can push a button and bring them back. You got to care about people, man. People know when you care about them and when you're just pimping them for work. You don't have to be a slave driver to be successful. Care about people. What's going on in your life? What's happening? What's going on? How you feel? You okay? Because people are better employees when you treat them like that. They just are. Any questions about that? About the business? No? Oh, you all are easy. I bet you're going to have some questions in a minute. I guarantee you. Having a vision. I was talking to Devin about how you all came to him, how the process worked. And I'm sure you all have a vision for what you want to name your business. But do you have a business beyond that, how to make money outside of the traditional way? You know, Bill Gates didn't invent computers. You all do know that, right? He innovated. You all got to look at those stores every day and say, how else can I make money out of this place? What else do people who buy what they're buying want something else that's related to this? Just because you're a hair store don't mean you only have to sell hair. Just because you're a beauty store don't mean you only have to sell beauty supplies. I will throw a pack of gum, a carton of milk, anything I can if it's going to get $1 on the way out that door. There's a fruit section. Got some diapers for you on the way out there, too. I see the babies over there, little diapers over there. And there's some Schlitz malt liquor on the way out, too. We got a little liquor section going on over here. And you need a massage? We got a massage parlor in the back. You don't let $1 out the door if you don't have to. If you can find a way to integrate other services and products in your business without compromising your space, well, the things that are making you money, you do it. There's no rules, man. The only reason I'm successful is that I broke every rule in every business I've ever been in. I was the first guy to write a relationship book and talk about it the way I did. I was the first guy to do a radio show the way I did it because nobody wanted to talk on radio. If you're not a rule breaker, man, you're just a business store opener-upper. You're not an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are constantly creating and reinventing themselves, man. Don't get comfortable making the money. Look down the road. You can ask me right now, what is my 3 to 5 year plan? I can tell you, I'm not just thinking about next week. I already got stage plays planned for the next 2 years, TV shows planned for the next 2 years, films planned for the next 2 years. I'm busy. Now, I've been mentoring most of the time I've been off of radio, but long before radio was over, I was already good. I was good, man. They were like, hey, they locked us out the studio. I was like, okay. Call Pamela. Okay, Pamela, next. You're not going to control me. You know, once you get into entrepreneurship and you've been controlled on a 9-to-5 job, you don't blind yourself to your job every day and not think about what you're going to do if your money run out. You got to have a plan B and C. Show shut down, book got released. Book got released, stage play got written. You got to, what's next? What's next, man? Don't get comfortable making a few $100,000 and think I'm paid. Man, you know how quickly after Uncle Sam get his cut, damn, Uncle Sam? And you better have your accountant right, because you get hit with those taxes, dude, you want to talk about a nightmare. You don't never want to be audited. Well, let me just say this, you're probably going to get audited. You want to be prepared when the audit comes. That tax situation is no joke. I've been audited over something I wasn't even guilty of. My manager got audited. They were after me for 3 years for $30,000 that just got put in a separate account. That simple. $50,000 in penalties. Now, I didn't have to pay it because I was able to demonstrate that I paid taxes on it from the other account. But your accountant has got to be tight. I wish I knew an accountant that I could share with you, but I don't. But whatever money you think that because I'm going through a change myself of some money that I need to find me somebody new. Because accountants get comfortable just like everybody else. But if you think you're spending too much on an accountant, they're asking you for too much, trust me, it's going to cost you a lot more if you don't get the proper advice. It's a lot that goes into that, man. You need a bookkeeper. Make sure you find somebody to keep your books, to keep all your stuff organized and pay your taxes quarterly. You all do know that. I hope you're not waiting to the end of the year to pay taxes. That's the craziest thing in the world. That's the most basic, crazy thing I've ever heard. All you're doing is giving the government money. Pay your taxes every quarter, man. That should be mandatory. Definitely write your own checks. Do you all know this? Now, it's very easy to give your accountants access to your banking accounts without giving them access to transact. All of my bookkeepers could go to my bank accounts and look at everything I got every day, but they can't transact a damn thing. All you got to do is go on to Chase or Wells Fargo, whatever, they give you that's called a user manager. You go in, they set up a username, and all you have to do is click everything but transact, and they can go in there and download off, what's the program they download off? QuickBooks? They download off of QuickBooks and take all your stuff off, do your transactions just like that. They can't process nothing. Nobody has ever written a check with my name on it. Nobody's ever transacted anything in my business, ever. But they can go in there and look at it. You all got to get a little sophisticated with this game because this is business 101. When you start making millions of dollars, let me tell you, the whole game is different. Millions? When you start writing checks at hundreds of thousands of dollars, it gets real serious. And that's your goal. Because when you start owning more and more stores, those are the kind of checks you're going to be writing. Insurance. Please tell me you have insurance. When I saw those businesses burn down, I was like, if that was me, I would have been like, well, let me call my agent. Those niggas sitting there going, oh my God, I don't have insurance. You can't, but you don't have insurance, but you got a nice ride. You got some red bottles, but you don't have no insurance. Come on now, this is business 101. I don't do nothing without insurance. Nothing. My business is real estate. That's what I got involved in to make sure that when I start making money, I didn't turn into one of these other brothers. Nothing worse than a guy getting paid millions of dollars and end up broke. How in the hell? Hundreds of millions of dollars. $100 million contracts, some of these athletes, they broke. It's easy. It's easy. Uncle Sam get it 35%. That's 35% in that tax bracket. Over $1 million, you're in 35%. Now you got babies, women getting child support from you. All right? You got all the cars. I went through that car thing. But after I had everything else paid for, and then you know what I did? I bought the fancy cars and sold them back within the first year. I was like, okay, I drove it. And sold it back for more than I bought it for because the cars I bought were nice cars. And I didn't drive it to death, didn't put a lot of miles on it. They were in demand. I made a profit off of the cars I drive. What is with us, man? Our mentality about money is all messed up, man. I don't dress like this at home. I put on my shorts and my flip-flops, and, man, You look at white people. I had an experience in New York when I first started working for KISS FM in New York when I first started my radio career. And I was living in the Soho area in a hotel. And I went to a restaurant, and I sat down at an outside cafe. Who's been to Soho? Soho's so nice, right? It's so cool in the springtime, right? And I sat down, and this white dude came. He had a newspaper, had on some shorts and a flip-flop. He sat down. The waiter came to my table. He was all excited. He was like, oh, man, you know who that is? You know who that is? I'm like, no, I don't know who that is. And he was some billionaire finance guy or something. And just looking at that image of how this man was dressed stuck with me for the rest of my life. I said, look at that guy. That guy's worth $1 billion, and he's in sandals and flip-flops. We show off too much. We show off too much. I don't own any jewelry. I have these watches. I don't own them forever. I only buy shoes when I wear them out. I buy suits because I'm a business person. I got to dress the part. Otherwise, I wouldn't own a suit. Why do we spend all this money on things that don't make us money? If it's on your ass, it's not an asset. That's right, I said it. You know, it's very easy for a lot of these people to be successful. And I have a lot of respect for athletes and entertainers and people who make their money in the entertainment industry. But for me, that's a lot easier money. Entrepreneurship, man, that is, oh my, what? And you think it's going to get easier, but it never, ever, ever does. You keep thinking, if I just get to this level, no, then it gets harder for some reasons at that level. This stuff is hard, man. Because you got to keep your eye on everything. You got to come to work every day. It's hard. And I hope that you all, let me give you the bad news. It's not going to get easy. I know a lot of people are like, once you get to a certain, no. Because the more money you make, more money, more problems. Now let's talk about relationships. Oh, my God. Being an entrepreneur trying to have a relationship. Boy, that's some fraganackle bull right there, boy. That's some fraganackle bull. Do you know how hard it is to balance relationships and entrepreneurship? I know people make it sound all great, but just believe and pray to God. Negro, please. Let me tell you something, man. You got to understand something. Sometimes you're not going to have balance. People always make it sound like you can always have balance. No, you can't. Sometimes you got to give more to one thing than another thing. And if you're starting a business, you better believe that business has to be a priority. It has to be. Now, I know some people are like, well, I still spend time with my kids. I'm trying to be the best at what I do. I am the best at everything I do. That's my objective. Not to be better than anyone else, but to be my best at everything I do. Now, maybe you just want to have a business that makes some money. I want to be number one at everything I do. At least that's the objective, which means I got to outwork you. And that's the reason why I've been successful, because I work harder than everybody else. I stay up later. Me and my manager, you can email us at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. The guys producing my music, we are a machine. That's why we eat healthy. That's why we exercise, because we need that energy. Good health is essential to success in business as well. Because a guy that's healthy is going to have more energy, is going to outwork you. I'm telling you, it all goes together. It's a holistic thing. The relationships you have are central. Friendships, family relationships. I will drop a family member in a minute. I love you, but I'm going to love you from a distance. People are going to call you selfish. You're damn right. You're going to have to be a little selfish sometimes. A little selfish sometimes to be successful. I'm not an easy guy to date. People ask me, why are you single? You don't want to date me. I'm busy. Women are not a priority in my life. I'm good with that. The question is, are you good with it? Because I'm going to tell you, the wrong relationship will destroy your business. It'll take away your mental focus. It'll take away your energy. It'll affect your attitude toward your employees and your customers. And it will have you changing your priorities for somebody who's not even around when the business falls. I was going to write a book called Forget Love. I was going to use another word, but I didn't think it would sell too well. I'm just trying to talk to you. And the reason why is that for me, and ladies, this is especially for you, because men, we get our genitals involved too much. Men, business has been destroyed over their genitals. That's right, I said it. Loving somebody, man, come on. Your emotions get all stirred up. You got to understand what's going on chemically with your body, man. That's infatuation. And then you lose focus, everything you're doing, because you're just so focused on that person. Trust me, man, relationships are central. Being able to organize and prioritize and understand how to have relationships in business is essential when you want to be at the top. Sometimes you can't have that relationship. Sometimes you got to tell that person, I can't have that kind of relationship. Do you know long-distance relationships work great for most of the entrepreneurs I know, because they don't have that everyday demand and expectation. Now, if you got the right partner, it's great. Super. Oh, my God. If you're that lucky, I hate you. You got the right relationship with somebody who roll with you, that is the bomb. I hate you. And it's easy to have that if they're already there when you start the business. But boy, yeah, because if they come along afterwards, you're like, this is a fraganackle. Because they already know you. They already know you. They've been there when you were down. They helped you through the hard times. They've been through the struggle with you. That's all good. But most of our entrepreneur ladies and gentlemen are single people. Don't you love me? Don't you love? Yeah, I love you, but this business, I got more invested in it. See, that may sound cold for a lot of people, but my attitude is, if you love me, you back up off me and let me handle my business. How about that love? It's always love that's compromising to the person who's more emotional. You can't submit to that as an entrepreneur. You can't allow your emotions to dictate your decision making. This is business. So you love me, but love me enough to let me have my space to work. Because I'm going to tell you, entrepreneurs live with this. We can't be without this. This has got to be on almost 24/7 for most people. Because when that call come in, you got to be the one to answer it. I've leaned over my phone in bed in intimate situations. Whoa, excuse me, baby. I'll be right back, you know. Hey, if something critical is going on in my business and I see that phone light up, well, maybe not right in the middle, but shortly thereafter. The point I'm trying to make is that as an entrepreneur, you have to stay connected. You're on dates and you're looking at your phone, and people may find that to be rather rude. This is not personal. I'm not trying to disrespect you. I'm not trying to act like I'm not enjoying your company, but there's something going on in my business. I got to keep my eye on my phone. Some people really are offended by this. You do understand that. Oh, y'all don't want to talk. Y'all want the PG-13. I don't do PG-13. Let me tell you, when you've grown up the way I have on the south side of Chicago with a mother who was 17 years old with 3 kids, with the Blackstone Rangers over here, L. Rookin over here, and you've been out of work, how many of you all been? Women, is being out of work for women the same as a man? I don't think so. Because when we're out of work, there's nothing more emasculating in the world than a man with no money. Because if you're a woman with no money, you're cute, you can still go out. You know, you can still drink. A man with no money, you're like a leper. You know. Because if you tell a woman the truth, what do? I'm out of work. Well, nice. I've been out of work. When I got out the Air Force, I was out of work. This is right before Mayor Washington died, which was like a real sad time for me to get out the military and have Mayor Harold Washington die at the same time. And it was, man, women treat you so much different when you don't have money. Your family, the women in your family treat you different. The world treats you differently as a man with no money. And I never forgot that feeling. And I remember the first day I got the job with Chicago Transit. I put my uniform on, and I said, I will never, ever be without money again. I'm never going to let somebody else dictate when I have a paycheck and when I don't. And that's a painful thing to be out of work. It's dehumanizing. Even for a woman, it has to be, to know you need things and maybe talking to people you don't want to talk to and dealing with people you don't want to deal with, moving back in your mama's house or whatever. Man, once you have that experience of not having control of your life, never again, ever. It's never going to happen. That's the kind of person you're dealing with in me, and I hope that you all have that same attitude, man. This is for me, it's almost war. Because I know what the system is trying to do to me. You all should know what the system is trying to do to you all in terms of this business. 3%? That is embarrassing. All these people getting rich off of us. That's the only reason we serve any purpose. The minute Hispanics come here and they start being the people who are what are they going to need us for? All we are is consumers. got to think about this, man. You got to think bigger. My whole life was changed by books like Malcolm X's autobiography, Black Man, Obsolete, Single and Dangerous, Destruction of Black Civilization, ISIS Papers, the whole nine. My mind was on fire. Those are the books that created me. Before all this stuff happened, I started reading. And once my mind got turned on, I was a beast. You could not turn me off. And I still am to this day. I wake up on a mission every day. My suit stay ready. My house stays in order. I'm ready at the drop of a hat. Whatever go down, I'm ready. I live like a soldier. I don't know how bad you all want it. I am determined. And there's some people who hustle, but you are not going to beat me. Will Smith said it best. He said, you may be better than me, but you're not going to outwork me. It's just not going to, it's never going to happen. Never. If I decided I wanted to be ahead of the business you all in, I would be at the head of it. I would be in that 1%, I guarantee you. Otherwise, why play? Why are you in the game? Just to make some money? That's it? What about the legacy of your children, man? What are you leaving them? See, white people think of legacy. My daughter, her kids and her kids and her kids are set. They ain't got to worry about nothing. She ain't getting none of that money straight up. That's another thing. We don't have any life insurance. We don't have wheels. I have all that stuff managed. She's going to get a certain amount of money, and there's all kind of conditions. Dude, I don't play. I didn't make all this money to squander it on you marrying Leroy and having a bunch of kids and buying some Escalades and some Ferraris and blowing all my money. No, you get this at this time under these conditions. A wheel take that long to put together. Come on now. If you die today, what's going to happen with your business? You put a lot of work into this. Don't just let it go. These are things hey man, this is why relationships, I'm not the best relationship guy because my mind is always on all this. Once I get it together, once everything is more stable, or if I can find the right woman who will flow with me, cool, but I'm not stopping to get to know you. It's like a stream. I mean, it's like a stream. Don't be looking at me. She was like, I don't like you. I don't like you either. But it's like a stream. It's like a stream. If you all notice a stream and the twigs that fall into the stream, they just go with the stream. To me, you have to be that twig that's just going to get in and flow. Because if you say, look, I need you to stop. I need you to stop doing what you're doing. I need you to spend more time with me. I need you to stay on the phone longer with me. I'm not that. I can't stay on the phone with you all night. I can't be on the phone for hours. I'm not a teenager. I need to be working, or I need to be sleeping, or I need to be relaxing. You have to have a holistic life to be successful in business, man. Everything has got to flow. And if you got a nagging man or insecure person, stay away from insecure people. You can't even take them out because you know you have to meet people. You're on business all the time. If you're out, you're doing business. I do business constantly. I get books out still to this day. I don't need to give away books, but man, you look at me the wrong way on the plane, bam. You making eye contact to me, girl. I see you. I'll find a way to get over to you, and bam. You're on the hustle all the time as a business person, man. You should, it's funny to me. I meet shy business people. I'm like, that don't go together. You can't be a shy business person. Are you serious? Shy? Man, I walk in the room, I'm going to touch everybody in that room before I leave. Everybody. Everybody's going to see my face in that room before I go. How do you all think I made it from a guy with I've never had a book publisher until I was already selling hundreds of thousands of books. I was giving books away on the plane. I was giving it to waiters at the restaurants, people I was meeting on the street, my postman. Anybody who came in contact with me got a book and they got a flyer. Anybody I met on the plane when I had a national radio show, I'll be sitting next to white folks saying, where do you live, Chicago? Have you heard my show? We started getting in business and we make our world smaller. Your world's got to be bigger, and the person you're in a relationship has got to make your world bigger. If you date that person that has, like women, I would date women who had a problem with me talking to women. I'm like, these are my customers. And I would bring them in my seminars. I used to do these huge seminars all around the country. And they would be like, well, you're talking to these, can't we get... Bam, you gone. You are gone. You're complaining about me hugging people and taking my time with people at a seminar. These are my customers. They're feeding me. You're costing me. Who do you think I'm rolling with? But the right partner who understands all that, who flows with you, of course. That is That's a beautiful thing. That is a worthwhile goal, to find somebody who gets it. And guess what? It shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be hard work. I know you all think you got to fight for love. Shh. You got to fight for love. Got to fight. I'll fight once we already establish that we are compatible. I'll fight once we establish we have the same mission and the same vision, but I'm not fighting to get to know you, baby. I don't have the energy for that. I'm fighting the man out here trying to get paid. I can't fight you too. And the same thing with these insecure men. There was a young lady who had a book who came into the studio. She had a book she wanted to promote a national radio show. Here is her big shot. You're on national radio in 80 markets talking to 7-8 million people. This is your shot. Her husband comes in, and of course, she's being flirtatious with me a little bit and being fun. Not disrespectful of him, but being very personable. He gets tight, gets upset, and during one of the breaks, call her outside the studio. Next thing I know, they're gone. Yes. There are some fellas, not you. But man, there's some insecure men out here. You take them out to an event, and they see the way the men are responding to you because you're very personable and and they get all tight. You can't date him. That guy's not for you. And you better be wise enough to cut him loose. Because you can't help a man be secure. Either he is or he isn't. Now, you can contribute to his insecurity by being inappropriate. But hey, if you're just out there doing business and hugging, you got to hug people in business. You got to touch people, man. If you're dating somebody who has a problem with that, hey, nice knowing you. Peace out. Any questions or comments? You're sitting there with your arms all folded. Y'all relax. It's like being in my living room, man. This is something that came very natural for me, being able to talk in front of people and be passionate about different things. And most importantly, have the courage to say things that a lot of people won't. Because I'm not trying to be popular with people. I'm just trying to create a dialogue. I'm not trying to be right. I could be wrong about everything I'm saying. But guess what? The difference between me and a preacher, when the service is over, you get a microphone because I'm going to ask you, what do you think? Because you got to challenge people, and you got to open yourself up to be challenged. I got to this point by listening to people. I'm the only radio show nationally that said, people call in and tell me what you think. You listen to all those other radio shows, they're just talking amongst each other. They're not talking to the people, they're talking to each other. Now, that's no knock against them. That's the way they want to run their program. I want to know what you think. When I see this brother right here looking at me, I'm wondering what's on his mind. When I mentor my boys who are 17 years old, and they're all bigger than me, most of these kids are big, right? But the reason why we have respect is because at the end of every class, I ask them, so what do you think about what I just said? They get a voice. Don't be afraid of people. Everybody, they hating on me. No, they just trying to tell you something about yourself you don't want to hear. I'm open for that. I mean, I know that's how I grow, through sometimes constructive criticism. I'm not trying to be right. I'm just giving you my perspective. There's a lot of books that reading is very instrumental in how I got here. Even Wayne Dyer, Miguel Ruiz. I mean, I love reading, of course, my good friend Dennis Kimbrough. I mean, you got to keep educating yourself. Even Facebook is great. We got one of the busiest Facebooks in the world. In the world. Baisden Live is one of the busiest Facebooks in the world. And just like when we get done, you and I haven't, what did I tell you? The first time I saw you yesterday, after I said, dude, we got to get you on Facebook. I reach 10 times more people on Facebook than I did on radio. 10 times more. We get over 100 million hits a month. We get 35,000 joins a week. Consistently. 2 million, we hit 2 million Monday, I think, right? But that's just a number of people who are friends, but our reach is over 100 million people worldwide. We have almost more people in the Philippines than we do in some parts of America. I mean, that's how big social media is, and you better learn how to exploit that as well. You should all have Facebook pages or Instagram or whatever, especially with some of you all's customers. Instagram is very good for the younger audience. They're very active. They live on social media, man. They live on it. Any questions or comments? Oh, you all not going to talk to me, man? I don't get out much. Talk to me. I work so hard. Nobody ever talked to me. What's up, man? Well, remember, it started with books. So back then, there wasn't all this syndication. So you could go to like V103 here in Atlanta was when, who was on back then? Mike and Carol were on back then. How many of you all live here? Okay, well, remember Mike and Carol? I don't know if you remember Mike and Carol. This was before Frank came on, because Frank and I go way back. But I used to be able to go around to each market on local radio. This is when Black Expos used to be big, too, which was another good place where people like you this is where a lot of Black Expo created a lot of Black businesses. And so I would travel around to the Black Expos, and I would do seminars and sell books, and whatever books I didn't sell, dude, I gave them away at the end of the night, right? Because what was the point of shipping those books back? It cost me as much to ship them back as to give them away. Why not give them away and create? You know what I think our biggest problem is, man? We're trying to get rich too fast. We want to get paid right now. You know, I remember the first time I got a $30,000 American Express bill. My heart was going crazy when I had to send in the payment for it. But I'm like, obviously, hopefully I'm making $30,000 if I got expenses in $30,000. But it took me years to get to that point of having that much in expense in book publishing. You all probably have a lot more than that in your products, but it takes people just don't understand it just takes time, man. So it took time, just like with the radio and becoming a person that people trusted nationally. With Gina 6, we led that. The president told us we were instrumental in him being elected. We know we were. We shut the show down for the president every day. We got people out there. We were in cities registering people. Trayvon Martin, nobody even knew about it till I talked about it. Okay? So, but guess what? My ratings went down when I did all of that stuff. And I had radio stations calling me, complaining, stop talking about it. I was like, man, the hell with you. This is my show. So you have to be willing to take some chances and do the right thing. Integrity is real important in business, man. Something nobody ever tells you in business is all about getting paid. Do what you say you're going to do. I do what I say I'm going to do. If I say I'm going to get behind a march, I'm going to get behind a particular movement, I do it to the end. I see it through. Don't lie to people, man. It's the same thing with relationships with women. I tell women up front, I'm not going to be monogamous to you. This is an example that I'm trying to give you is that this is why I can get on national radio live. I can be on Facebook live and nobody's saying Michael Baisden got me pregnant. Michael Baisden gave me a disease. Michael Baisden cheated on me. Integrity is power, man. That's why we don't have any strong Black leaders, because they got so many damn skeletons in their closet that they know the minute they open their mouth, some woman in the audience is going to be like, you raped me. You beat me. No, I'm serious. When you don't live your life right, you lose your power. I'm powerful because I don't lie to nobody. I take care of my family. I take care of my daughter. I take care of my business. I can stand up in front of any audience and say whatever I want to say, and everybody already know I'm already about it. There's no secrets. And that's why bad relationships will mess you up in business, dude, because if like you, Pretty Ricky, if you have a business and you're going around town having sex with all these women and you're lying to them, your reputation is going to get around and women are going to be like, I'm not going to support his business. I mean, people, I'm telling you, and guess what? Maybe they shouldn't. I don't know. But I'm not going to give you a reason not to support me. If you don't like me, you just don't like me. I'm cool with that. You know, I mean, I'm not going to appeal to everybody. But you're not going to not like me for any reason having to do with integrity. That's never going to happen. That's power, man. And as a business person in your community, you also become a leader in your community. And that's something else you got to understand. You're a person, you come in contact with a lot of people who come into these stores, man. Come on. There's hundreds of people who get to know you. You can help them. And that's a chance to also be a mentor. Oh, my God, you all have the perfect opportunity to be an example for these young people. Don't just let them come in, sell them something without give them some encouragement. I mean, they see you all the time. They probably see you more than they see anybody else other than their teachers. Why wouldn't you take advantage of that? I don't come in contact with young people unless I give a chance. Hey, man, how you doing? How's school? You know, say something, talk to them. Don't just be a business owner, take the money and, I mean, if you got a line, kick them out, you know. You can't hold up the line. But if they're coming in there and you have some time, talk to them. Build a relationship with them, man. Trust me, it makes a big difference. We got to go. Any questions? Yes.
I do want to thank you for your service, first off.
Oh, thank you.
Being prior military myself, I wanted to know if there was any benefits out there that you utilized in the end.
No, there probably were, but I had such a hustle mentality. There was a lot of people. I went through publishing companies who didn't want to publish my work. I let that happen 2 times. I was like, I'm done. I tried to get a loan. It didn't work. I didn't have any assets. So for me, I really did go about it the whole school kind of way. But there's a lot of money out there for businesses. I just didn't have the resources to take advantage of it. Yeah. What branch? We can't all be Air Force. It's all right, baby. It's all right. It's all right. Anybody else? Oh, those are some deep books, girl, unless you want your mind to explode. There's some real militant Angela Davis, H. Rap Brown, Stokely Carmichael, Malcolm X type stuff. It all depends on where your mind is. I have a very revolutionary mentality. So I read guys who were real, real deep. Hakeem Metabuti, you probably never heard of him. Of course, Jawanza Kunjufu, who I love. Those of you women who have sons, you need to be reading Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys and a bunch of other books that Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu has written. He is the person that you want to talk to about raising your sons if you need some help with that. He's very deep. Come on up here, Devin, so I can say something to you before I leave. I got another event. I got my boys going back to school next week at Evans High School. I have 26 boys whose college I'm paying for. And but not only that, more importantly, is that I see them every week. And when I left radio, I moved to Orlando for those boys, just to be with them, and I did not miss a week. And the weeks I missed, I doubled up the weeks before or after. I didn't miss a single week that whole school year. So I'm looking forward to getting back with my boys next week. So it's going to be all good. Don't forget to call me tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, so I can put you out. You all need to join Baisden Live so you all can see what's going on, man. I'm going to tell you, it's a hot page, isn't it? I mean, everything you want to know about what's going on, man, I stay on it. That's my way of staying in touch with you guys.
All right.
Thank you, man.
Don't go too far. We're going to keep you here, hold you hostage for a second. We're going to do a quick meet and greet per Pamela.
Oh,
so,
meet and greet time.
yeah, we got time for that.
Okay.
So those want to meet, take a picture with them, sign some of your books. I guess selfies is the hot thing now, so.
We definitely won't be dating, since I'm sure I've turned off every woman in here, but nice meeting you nevertheless. It's been great,
So line up this way. You're going to get the pictures and get books signed if you want them signed.
And you want me here?
And, yeah, right here.
Okay.